Hi everyone, welcome to Design Upgrade and thank you so much for tuning in. Just wanted to inform you that this video lesson is part of a larger online course, which actually itself is one of many other courses that you can find on our main site courses.design-upgrade.com. Hope to see you soon there, and now please enjoy the video and also leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Alright, so welcome to the next example. We will model up this bridge. It's an abstract bridge, so don't be thrown off because detail is missing. We just want to again utilize our knowledge of precise modeling with coordinates and just take it to the next level by actually, modeling up more three-dimensional forms and geometry, which already make up some architectural context maybe, right? But the basic is again pretty much the same. So if I just show you what we want to do now, we want to first of all model the cross section, right? And we will model it up with the known methods that we have learned so far. This is actually Rhino 7, but you do not need to have Rhino 7 open. We can also just open up a Rhino 6. So I want to now go here to new, and I want to say that I want to work with meters, large objects. I want to have that, right? So this is a new canvas. You can see everything is kind of clear. I can just type in purge to get rid of my layers there. Gonna take this layer and just call it maybe bridge example. You can type in anything that makes you or is more reasonable for you, sub layer. And the first thing I want to do is cross section. So this is my main cross section. I can also just call it main cross section, doesn't really matter. If you want, give it a different color so you really know that's your main thing. And we want to work in the front view. So I'm going to go to front, right? And here's where I want to work. All right. So let's first of all draw the cross section that we have seen. So this is pretty much the same as here, what we want to do. And I'm just going to show to you what I did here, but you can alter it as you go along because it's your bridge that you want to model up. But basically what I want to do is start up with a polyline again, right? And I want to get rid of my grid snap and planar, smart track, gumball. I do not need all of them right now. And I want to start at location 0. Then I want to go in the X direction. I want to say 0.5, but I can just type it in because this will be locked. Let me actually just change my background to dark gray so you can see something, right? And layer is set to main cross section. Now we are clean. And we just type in our press and hold shift button, enter. Now that's our first kind of domain. So in this zone here, maybe we have the bicycles so they can just, drive there. And I want to now create a sunken in pathway for the pedestrians. So what I want to do for that is just say relative to my last point, give me 0.5 as a distance, and then say smaller than to get the angle of 330. Something along that lines. Should be fine, right? Now we have this little slope here, which is nice. Now we could just type in 1, shift, enter. So we have 1 meter of where pedestrian can walk. It's a bit less, you can increase it, but doesn't really matter. Now I want to have the same slope back up, yeah? So we can go relative to my last point, give me 0.1 as my distance, and then say smaller than this time 30. I want to go in the positive or upwards. Enter. Now I want to go up 0.1. I can just type it in, shift button. You can also press your Alt if you want, but just do it like so. Now we want to have a little zone where maybe people could even sit down, actually, and relax, right? So just have a nice view to the whatever it is below the bridge. But we want to have that. And to do so, I want to have again a slope. This time I'm going to use coordinates, relative coordinates. So R, yeah. I want to say 0 point. And then I want to say 0.25, comma 0.2. And there you go. We already have our slope there, right? The next thing is the zone or the area of where you can sit. We can just say 0.4, enter, shift button lock, enter. Now I want to have the same slope that I had here. So I say relative to my last point. And I can, instead of always typing in 0 point something, yeah, you can just get rid of the 0 and just type in point and just say 2.5. Yeah, that's also something. Comma, and I want to go downwards. So I say minus 0.2. If I do so, enter. I have the same coordinate here. And then I want to go down by 0.1. Enter. Shift and hold, press down, enter. Okay, so now we already have like the first top part. Right? So I can go back to the reference geometry here. So you can see this is something that we have modeled up now, the upper part. Now we want to go to the lower part, right? Now, this is something that is kind of interesting. So I'm just gonna copy this guy right now and put it here and just say, let's say reference. Yeah, and gonna select that and paste. And if you paste it, you can see that the geometry is now pasted, but it will be pasted with the default layer setting that it had. I do not want that. Currently the reference geometry or the pasted geometry is still selected. Go to reference, say change object layer, right? Deselect. And now I can say purge, and this should now get rid of my extra layers. Just gonna put the reference to my bridge example, maybe at the top, and I'm actually modeling in my main cross section. And you can see it's a small deviation here, but it's not that critical actually because our endpoint is matching, so that's perfectly fine. So don't worry about that. I can draw a line first of all, yeah? And I know that I want to start my line at 0, comma, minus dot 1,5. Enter. And my line is going to be about 1.2 meters. Enter, and it's in the X direction, shift key lock, and put it there. So we've drawn this line now, right? And I kind of want to now model up this geometry by defining those little boxes or these little cutouts, right? And the way that I want to do this, if I just get rid of my reference, is I want to identify my point, just gonna get a point, and locate the mid, just make sure that your O snap is on, right? And also locate the mid here. So what I want to do is just select those 2 points that we just created. I'm gonna say move downwards. Yeah, just select any point. Say 0.3. That's going to be the center of those boxes that we just created. Hold the shift key and just move it down. Now I want to create 2 boxes first of all as reference. So we're just going to take the center corner. Select this point. Now I want to say the other corner point, right? So I'm going to say relative to that point that I just defined, which is the center point, give me 0.15, comma 0.1. Enter. If you bring back the reference, you can see this box is pretty much matching that one. And I can just basically copy this box to that location there, right? These are going to be now my reference boxes. So if I take those 2 guys, I explode them, just simply get rid of this thing. Yeah? And what I want to do, just to be on the safe side, I just want to now create kind of these lines that are in between them. And this is pretty much how we get the different geometry. So when the reference is kind of different, but I think this one should do the job even better. So this is where we want to get at. Now what I wanted to show to you is basically without doing this line here, let's say you still want to define it by coordinates, right? And you want to locate this point and know exactly where this coordinate is relative to your origin point. So you can do this by going under analysis, going to point. This will trigger the evaluate point, right? And if you select any point on your current construction plane, it will tell you what coordinates this point will have, which you then can use to actually type it in and refer to using coordinate systems. Another interesting feature actually is if you do that same thing again, is that you can also label it. So you can say label on, yeah. Style, you can change it. You can go to, let's take dot first. So this would look like something like this. So you have this now. Can I move it down? Yeah, you can move it down. It will not change it. So this will now tell you for this point here what exactly the location is, right? And we can do the same thing again. So let me say evaluate point. And this time I'm going to take style leader. And this will just give me annotation of where this point actually is. Okay, we will come to this in a second with annotation because this right now is very big. We do not want that. But in a nutshell, we can take the same methodology, go to dot and define this one, and we have that dot there. And the same thing is doable for these 2. So I'm just going to do that and that, take those 2 points and move them down. just do one more here. Yeah. The interesting thing is now that we can rebuild this polyline just by the means of using those coordinate systems. So that is kind of nice because I can now delete this information that I have here, right? And just based on this coordinate system, I'm going to try to model up this polyline that we have just drawn. So just again, do a polyline. Start same, so 0, minus 0.15. And we want to say 1.2. Lock that, shift straight. And now something interesting is that you should know that this is always referring to my origin, so absolute coordinates. So I need to type in the absolute coordinates. So in this case, I can just type in 1.94, yeah, comma, minus 0.45, yeah, something like this. Should be fine. And now I have that line, so I just need to now say 0.2, enter, shift upwards, I want to say 0.3, enter, shift, I want to say 0.2, enter, shift downwards. Now I want to, let me just bring in, now I want to make a diagonal turn to this point, right? Again, it's the absolute, so I'm just going to say, 2.97, comma. And as you might see, this is kind of misleading because here it's telling you that the z location, so the third number should be actually minus 0.1, yeah? But it's just because we're in a different construction plane, right? And z in this case is currently the y-axis or the green axis. But if you type it in the normal fashion, so x, y, z, it will understand it still, right? So you can just type in x and then the next value, and then it should be fine. So in this case, the next value is minus 1, right? And you can see it's the same point. We got that. All right, so now 0.2, enter, shift, say 0.3, enter, shift, we say 0.2. We can also work with ortho, would be better actually in this case, and shift, and then we could just, close it, or we just type in one last time the near coordinates, so 0.57, comma 0 actually, enter, enter. All right, so that was a bit more difficult to see, but I mean, we kind of did it, and then once we have those, we can just maybe create a layer for that. We say dot or evaluate pt, and just put these guys there, so we do not need to see them again. No? Change object and get rid of them. All right, so we have our first cross section. Okay, well done. Let's look at the next thing.